In this episode, we're going to discuss how to free up your energy by closing up energy leaks in your life. What are energy leaks? Keep listening.
I'm Sienna.
And I'm Toast.
We've been partners in life, love, and music since 2001, and we believe life is best lived as a love story. Your love story.
After all, to love well is to live well. For more, check out siennaandtoast.com. But for now, here's this episode.
Here's this episode.
Here it is. I'm so glad my hiccups went away. Knock on wood.
I know. I was wondering.
We'll see if they come back. But about 10 minutes ago, I started
hiccuping.
What's
I was
up
ready
with
to
What's up with that?
Scare you. and
see if that worked.
Boo you and get them back in. Get those hiccups quieted down, back in the box.
Well,
all right.
Like I said, knock on wood, they've gone away for now.
So thank you so much for joining us. This is Sienna, and we don't need to say that because that thing says it for us,
Anyways,
right?
well, that's us saying it for us. But okay.
So,
Are we going to
I'm very excited
Oh.
because in one of our past episodes, I talked about The Mandalorian and how I thought Baby Yoda was just so cute. I could not get over it. I could not get over it. And what happened, also, we mentioned this in a recent podcast, Toast and I took advantage of the holiday promotions and we upgraded our phones.
Oh, did we mention that?
Maybe we didn't. I don't know. Anyways.
Well, we have now.
And we were really overdue and ready for that. So anyways, I needed a new pop socket on my phone. And I got this beautiful agate green geode pop socket. But because it's a real mineral, like it was so heavy. So it wasn't practical at all. So anyways, I was looking around and I have the mint green phone. And I couldn't find a pop socket. Why couldn't I find one? I don't know. So anyways, I'm looking and looking and looking. And I found the cutest Baby Yoda pop socket.
Sold!
And I would never think I'd really get a Baby Yoda pop socket.
Nope.
But it's
I
so
didn't
cute.
either.
It's so cute because he matches the green. He's so cute.
Yeah, I think they designed the colors to match the green, don't you think? Because it matches so perfectly.
I think so. Or maybe he's just mint green. I don't know. But then my other Baby Yoda news is that I had been looking for a Baby Yoda t-shirt. Like not really to wear outside of the house, but kind of like, just in the privacy of your own home.
And on Instagram, maybe, in front of the whole world.
Oh my gosh. No, I did not post it. I didn't post it. But anyways, I'm telling you all. So there were so many Baby Yoda t-shirts, which really affirmed for me that it was okay to think he was so darn cute, because apparently if they're making all the products, there are many people who think he's so cute. Mm-hmm. So I found this shirt and I had been waiting because it was going on sale. Then I found perfect for Portland, this long sleeve sweatshirt, gray with a nice red heart on one of the elbows. And in the front, there's cute Baby Yoda. Okay, so I got it. Great price, everything.
It finally arrives in the mail.
What somehow escaped me when I was shopping for this Baby Yoda shirt is I could not believe that Baby Yoda was sticking the finger at me.
He's flipping the bird. He's flipping off the world.
Why in the world would these t-shirt makers make these shirts?
I don't know. It's very adolescent.
And doesn't that go against the heart on the elbow?
Yeah, I don't understand.
So anyways, I near died because even though
so funny.
I gotta say, I swear left and right. Okay, I'm sorry if you don't like that, but I do. And actually, it was Toast who really freed that up for me. But at this point now,
you mean like actually swearing? Like we swear?
I swear.
Yes, we use cuss words. We just don't use them on the podcast.
Right, but That's
every
a
day.
choice.
That's a
swearing
choice
every
we
day.
make. We're trying to
And
elevate the level of public discourse and conversation. We
Well,
still
I mean-
believe in having some kind of public decorum. We're old school like that.
That's true.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean I want to wear that. You know what I mean?
I totally
Yoda
know
there.
what you mean.
So what I did
that's
was-
not what you had intended to order. You weren't
No.
like, oh, look, Baby Yoda's flipping the bird. Let me get that one.
Yeah, that stands for me. No, I was not thinking that.
Okay.
So what I did was, thankfully, we had this great permanent marker. And what I did was I just covered his hands with a giant heart.
Sienna's so creative.
So I turned it into I just gave the shirt another heart, a sweatshirt another heart. And it looks cute.
Yeah, you kind of did that almost without missing a beat. I mean, maybe you missed one beat and you took time to go, oh no, oh my gosh, what should I do? But then the answer immediately came to you.
I'm
You
like, I'm
grabbed the
fixing this
Sharpie.
now.
Yeah, you grabbed the Sharpie, drew a heart. It's all good. It's gone through the washer. It's gone through the dryer. The heart is still there.
It's fine.
Issue solved.
All right. That was so much
So
about
that's our Baby
Yoda.
Yoda news. Since,
But in other Star Wars news, we finally saw the movie.
yeah, this is probably the longest I've ever waited to see one of the Star Wars movies that are part of the original, Skywalker storyline. Yeah, but we finally went
good.
and saw it, and it was a lot of fun. I probably enjoyed it more than I thought I would, because
Even with all the hype. Huh?
I didn't go out looking for spoilers, but I also didn't guard myself
Shield
against
yourself.
spoilers.
Yeah.
So I had been privy to, the discussions that came across my Twitter feed about the lesbian kiss and how come Rose is not in the storyline.
Oh, wait,
and-
we should say spoiler
stuff
alerts
like that.
because people might...
Oh, too late now.
Okay, so here's more
Too late.
spoiler alerts.
Okay.
So my favorite part,
Yes. Okay.
spoiler alert, walk over and turn this off if I'm giving them time.
Okay.
Okay, my favorite part was when Ben says, Dad, I love that part. I love that part.
Yeah.
And then his dad says, I know. I love that part. Because he told that to Princess Leia when she said, I love you. And he says, I know. Oh my God, it was so good.
Yeah.
It was so just satisfying.
That part.
Yes. Yes, because you would never think what happened happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What else do you want to say about Star Wars? I'm sure you have more things.
Oh, I could go on, but I won't. And I'll just say that okay, two things. First, Star Wars is really friggin' weird. I'm sitting there in the theater watching this movie with all these weird creatures and, it's just really weird. And it was kind of neat to see that in context, right? After having lived decades and seeing this is what the culture of our society is like in this century in America. And then across, the radar comes a Star Wars movie. And it's like, this is weird. And it's amazing to me that it did
so popular.
capture the popular attention and heart as much as it did way back in the 70s, and it's sustained that.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing. And the second thing is related to it because I think part of the effect of the weirdness is that weirdness is what makes Star Wars more of a fantasy film than a space film or a science fiction film. It's just fantasy. It's fantastical. It does create a whole nother dimension of existence, kind of, And I think that's why it's, for me, it is the modern contemporary myth that we tell ourselves. It's myth. It's mythic. And so that exchange between father and son of dad and I know, and these themes of of forgiveness and redemption and choosing between the dark and the light, and who you're destined to be, and your family history. Even the family history, for me, it's taken as a spiritual thing. It's not literally like who your birth father is or whatever.
And that was expressed in this movie.
Was it?
Yes.
I mean, the Ray.
Yes, at the end.
Well,
but don't say it.
Okay.
How she was like deciding who she was going to be, right?
Right.
At the end.
Right. But yeah, so those two things, it's just so weird, but that's how that weirdness is very reflective of what each of our internal lives are like. They're weird. Our dreams that we have at night, the subconscious, the worries, the fears, the hopes that we have, the fantasies that, just catch us by surprise. Even that core of our experience of life, it's weird. And I appreciate the way that a fantasy like Star Wars and others like it, allows us to process and take it in and have our souls feel understood and have our souls feel a way to process things without having to over intellectualize it.
Yeah, because you didn't just do that. But yeah, I mean, I think that in general, each of us feels weird.
Yeah.
Weird meaning different things. Like weird can mean just simply out of place, don't belong, flawed, just whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then so when you watch something like Star Wars and you see these creatures, every type of creature, and just when you think you know that every type of creature, here comes this other creature that couldn't have been weirder, and there is a comfort in that.
There's something about it, I think.
Because Star Wars is cool, right?
Well, it depends who you talk to, I guess.
Well, anyways,
but they're making
Star
money
Wars is
off
cool
of it.
to us.
They're making money. Off of it. So anyway, yeah. So that's our Star Wars talk. We're done with that, right?
Right.
So right. Done.
We need to give everyone a break, a Star Wars break.
Okay.
Or a break from Star Wars. Okay, so today we're going to talk about energy leaks.
Energy drains.
And we thought this would be a great topic because currently we are looking at where Toast and I are both leaking energy in our lives right now. And we are scheduling and planning when to close these loops up. So basically, energy leaks are open loops in your life. It's like those things that nag at you and it's like you think about certain things like, oh, wow, I have to do that. I have to do this. Oh, shoot, I still didn't do that.
Where you need closure, you know that word?
Right.
Closure. Cross the finish line. And yes, okay, so you got this picture that you wanted to hang up, but you didn't hang it up yet. Right? Like hang the picture and shred those documents and just donate those clothes already, They're just sitting there in a pile, that kind of stuff.
Put your Christmas decorations away.
Right.
Unless you plan to leave them out all year, which is fine too. Get them packed away.
Yeah.
Send a thank you card.
Those kinds of things.
That you haven't done yet. All of those things. So that's like one arena of energy leaks. The other that we will talk about later in the podcast is more of an interpersonal nature. So these are energy leaks that have to do with relationships.
Those feel scarier to me.
Those feel scarier. Yeah. They can feel a little bit heavier. But we will get into that later in the podcast. But for now, going back to the more practical side of the leaks in our lives, we can take this on, people. We can do it.
This is the easier one.
This is really the easier one. Yeah. But for Toast and I right now, there are a few things. You actually mentioned some of them, but we do have like our Christmas tree in the corner still.
Not the one that so we had 2 Christmas trees.
Yeah.
One is artificial. That one we did make a deliberate decision to leave up.
Yeah. And it just has white lights on it now.
For now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other one is not artificial. It's a tiny little tree, but he does need to
But the ornaments are off.
The ornaments are off.
Lights are off.
Right. But he's still around and we love him and he still smells good. But
I know it's hard to put him in the green compost when
we
he
need to put
still
him in
looks
the green
good.
compost. So I need to do that. That's an open loop.
So there's that. We have some pictures to hang. So that's real. There's just things. And so...
and a wreath. We still have the wreath.
We have the wreath, but it smells so good. It's like I can't throw that out.
Yeah.
So we all have these things. And believe it or not, they do take up an amount of energy just by having them be around, undone.
Yeah, mental space.
Things
they occupy
undone take up energy.
Yeah, they take up space in your mind, right?
Yeah.
Even so,
Yeah.
we gotta tackle that.
So one thing you can do is to just get a piece of paper, just start writing out a list. Anything you think of is taking energy. But just write it down. And after you write it down, start prioritizing it. Like, what's the most important thing? Obviously, all of it is important.
On some level.
Because those things came to mind. But make sure you calendarize it. Put it in your calendar of when you're going to tackle it. So that you can finally just close that loop and get it done. You know what's another energy leak?
What?
At least for me, like
Okay.
just something I just thought of right now. It's making appointments. Like making the doctor's appointment, making, all those types of
Being your own secretary kind of
appointments.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like I don't make the appointment and yet I keep, because I haven't made the appointment, I'm like, oh, I have to make the appointment.
And you move the Post-it farther down in your calendar, right? Or you change yeah, I know what you mean.
I know. That's why even when you do put it in your calendar, you do have a responsibility to follow through and get it done.
That's why I think it's helpful to block out an entire day.
To close up the loops.
Or an entire weekend.
Yeah.
To say, this is a work weekend. It's the work of closing up these open loops.
Yeah.
And it does feel good to do that and focus on it. And what's great is you start knocking those things off of your list, and it's amazing how much you can get done if you just are allowed
the time to do it, right?
If you just are allowed the uninterrupted time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because one thing we've noticed, and I'm sure you have too, is that somehow this feeling of dread, and that's probably too strong of a word, but there's this feeling of
like a resistance.
Little dread. A dreadita. That of doing the thing, but it's actually, it's a boogeyman. It's kind of ephemeral. Because once you actually do the thing,
it's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal. Yeah.
I know. Why do we do that to ourselves?
Yeah, I know. We're such drama queens.
We're just crazy people.
Right? People are just drama queens sometimes.
Because that's so true. Like compared to the next section on interpersonal loops, right?
Yeah.
These are the easier loops, the practical.
Yes, because they're not pushing back on you literally, right? There's no energy. There's no vagueness to it. But, I just had a thought about how, the whatever energetic sensation that you have of preventing you from doing the thing, that's kind of like the force that is opposed to progress and evolution in the world, right?
That's true. The thing that will move you forward and something that always holds you back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
There you go.
All right, there we go. There's the answer.
The war is real. Okay. So those are just our observations on that, right? It's like, people, just do it.
Just do it. So one thing I'll have to say is that in the past, one of the big giant, what felt like a big giant loop to close was always after the holidays. Toast and I love to, we are old school in that we still value a handwritten card. We think it's so special to receive as well as to write and send to other people. And so we write thank you cards. And around the holidays, I would always start to feel stressed when December 25th rolls around. We open gifts for Christmas and we take notes on what was received. And then we have that yellow pad of, okay, we have to write the thank you notes. And on the table, we have the yellow pad. We have a stack of thank you cards, stamps, all of that stuff. And it's just there waiting for us. And then it's the 26th. And then it's the 27th. And then all of a sudden, somehow, it's now January 10th. And then it's January 15th. And then I'm just so stressed about that loop. And now we have to write 30 thank you cards. And they feel late already. And it feels rude.
Right.
And it feels like all this stuff.
Yeah.
When probably people don't
We
even...
failed.
Whatever.
We're failures.
That took up so much of my energy.
Yeah.
So finally, several years ago, we wised up.
And we realized that we could harness the energy of Christmas Day. And, you know, when that holiday spirit is still at its most intense and it just feels yummy to sit down and write notes to people.
Yummy.
So,
I like that.
well, this is a story about experimenting with your own way of doing things and finding what works for you. Because what has ended up working for us so far is opening our gifts on Christmas Eve.
Very true.
Enjoy opening the gifts.
And I love it because it's at night and the lights are on.
And oohing and eyeing.
Yeah. It's so...
And your hot drinks.
Festive.
And your cat playing with the wrapping
Tissue.
paper.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's Christmas Eve. And then we have made it a point to write our thank you notes on Christmas Day. When the feelings and the
vibration and frequency is just available. It's fresh. It's right there. There's the true gratitude that's felt.
And your presents are still fresh and
Yeah,
sparkling
and you can
under
see
the tree.
them. Yep. It just flows. There's so much ease. And it's a joy to do.
It feels more in the spirit.
It does.
In a very easy way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a thing that you have to do on your list.
No.
You know, it's like, wow, this was fantastic. It's part of the Christmas tradition now. So
But by January 25th, it does feel like something you have to do.
I know, even though intellectually, you know, it's like you are grateful and you are thankful and you want to let them know. But we have found that, with the time going by and life, you know, the normal everyday pressures and responsibilities and obligations of, quote, real life are back in your face.
Access.
Yeah, it's harder to make time for it. But hey, on Christmas Day, you have the whole day. So that's what we've found has worked for us.
And I think
for that particular thing.
I think it's so nice also to spend a portion of the Christmas holiday being in that space of gratitude.
Totally.
Like you're literally writing words of thanks.
Yes.
You're loving, and as you're writing, you're loving these people. That's a beautiful thing, especially for us who have no family here. It's nice.
Yeah. So that's a neat example, I guess, of just, you got to experiment.
See what works for
see
you.
what works, yeah.
Yeah. Our intention has always been to uplift, entertain, and encourage people, especially fellow LGBTQers and progressive allies around the world ever since we first started podcasting in 2007.
Over those years, we've continued to get messages from listeners who've shared how it's helped them through difficult times like coming out, rejection from family, dealing with religion, or living in the closet, helping them feel more understood, less alone, and just kept them going, reminding them and showing them that life is worthwhile.
And that's exactly why we do it.
We managed to self-finance this podcast since 2007, for 13 years now.
But now, for the first time, we're extending an invitation and a way for you, the listener, to play a part in supporting it.
Thank you for your consideration.
And if you do decide to contribute, thank you for that too.
And you can do that at siennaandtoast.com/contribute.
All right. So now for the heavier lifting.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I guess we don't have to frame it that way.
Well,
But it's true.
This is a more tough one. We're talking about the interpersonal energy leaks in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this is like a whole course of study and a book and a whole course. So we're just going to touch on what we feel are the main things. So the phrase that Sienna and I use in regards to dealing with interpersonal energy leaks is the phrase cleaning up your side of the street or cleaning up my side of the street, because there are two sides, at least, right? When you have interpersonal stuff going on. I guess I should back up and talk about what do we mean by interpersonal energy leaks, right? So what we mean are the people and relationships that come to mind when we say, hey, so who would you be uncomfortable about running into on the street? Just, and there's probably, someone that comes to mind.
One or two people.
Yeah. Or there might be somebody that you are in constant communication with to some degree. Like you wouldn't just run into them on the street. Maybe you encounter them on a weekly basis or something.
But there's still something there that you can feel.
Yeah, it's just uncomfortable.
Something.
Right? It's uncomfortable for one reason or another. It might be something relatively light. It might be something really, really heavy. Mm-hmm. But that's an energy leak. It's an energy drain on you, right?
But also, we have to acknowledge too that it could be something. Maybe it doesn't have to have that heavier tone too, but it could be something that where maybe there's a person in your life that for a while now keeps coming to mind because you feel like maybe you want to express gratitude to them for something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or like, I really want to. Right. So that sort of crosses over into the practical, like say if you wanted to send them a note.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Or, but there's something unexpressed. And it doesn't have to, well, we're going to get into that. So
yeah. Something that feels like it needs closure. Something it feels like it needs addressing. Yeah. Whether it could be framed as in positive or negative way or what. Mm-hmm. I think everybody knows what we're talking about.
People know.
If you're human.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But what we are stressing today is just the importance of addressing these things so that it doesn't steal more energy than it needs to.
And we just want to support you in doing that.
Yes. So cleaning up your side of the street. Yeah. That's kind of the phrase that we use, or cleaning up my side of the street. Toast cleans up her side of the street. And so just like the practical open loops, you can make a list. Who are those people that come to mind? And start working on that. Don't underestimate the amount of energy that we give to these unresolved communications.
Yeah, it's important.
It takes a lot. It pulls a lot.
And doing this and like addressing it and taking action on it, or deciding to not take action on it, that can be a valid choice.
It could, but if it keeps coming to mind, I think that's suggesting deal with it.
Yeah, and also too, here's another thing. This is when we're talking about interpersonal stuff, it's not like hanging a picture. When you hang a picture, pretty much it stays on the wall.
Right.
But sometimes, with people, it's like you're trying to do, even if it's just internal work and doing forgiveness work, for example. I have found, I have to do it again and again and again, right? It's like, it doesn't, just because something has been addressed doesn't mean it stays addressed. And the box.
Sometimes there's layers.
Yeah. So it's an ongoing work.
It's an ongoing work.
Yeah. You have job security when it comes to this issue because there's always going to be work in this area. Okay. So
one of the things that I want to make clear too is that when you're closing loops, and in the interpersonal way and cleaning up your side of the street, these can be people that you don't want to or have the intention to have a relationship with.
Right.
You don't want to continue necessarily a relationship with.
Right.
And that's totally okay. Mm-hmm. But there still might be a loop that needs to be closed. And when you're closing that loop for people you have no intention of cultivating any further with, you can do that without having to see them, write to them, text them.
You don't have to.
They don't need
to know about it.
Right. You do not need the other person. I think that's an important piece. Mm-hmm. You do not need the other person in order to close the loop for yourself and clean up your side of the street.
Yeah. That's why it's your side of the street.
Right.
It's your business and your energy.
Right.
And your heart and spirit. I feel like helping to, I guess, decide that question of, okay, if the question is, well, should you resume communication or should you address this issue directly with the person, right? That's a question sometimes. It might not be obvious if you should or not. And I think the way to answer that question is to ask yourself about your intention in reaching out to them. Like, what's your true intention? Is it to try and get them to admit their guilt, to try and get their apology, to try and make them feel bad? You know, if that's your intention, then no, don't reach out to them.
Right.
And also too, in the same vein, you have to check your own energy supply and respect and honor that and guard it. And if you, from experience or intuition or historical interactions, you feel that your interaction with them is going to be even more of an energy drain, is going to subject you to more difficulty and disrespect, don't do it. You know, this is not an exercise in being a martyr. This is not an exercise in just falling on your sword and, you know, claiming the high ground because of that. No, it's about respecting your energy. And that means protecting it, guarding it, and treating it as valuable because it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
So going back to making that list of those people, so you can make the list, decide if it is something you are going to initiate an actual interaction with the person, or if this is something purely on an energetic level, just you quietly doing on your own, you know, make that decision and then start taking action on these things.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to flesh out what we mean by on an energetic level. And
Go ahead.
We just mean saying a prayer of goodwill for them, maybe like wishing them well, loving kindness. That's one way it might look.
I think in general, most of us underestimate the power of our thinking, the power of our prayers, the power of just how we put our intention forward, especially when it relates to other people. So there is so much power in doing that. And it might just seem like, really, that's going to close up that loop? Partially, you know, or at least for this first layer. If there are other layers, then this person will come up again. And
exactly.
You're like, okay,
yes, exactly.
now I'm ready for the next layer.
Yeah.
But there truly are, and you can Google this if you want to, there truly are energetic cords that connect us and other people. And when you think about that, we have cords connected to all the people that we know and love and people that we've interacted with in our lives. And so you can see why it could be a drain, especially if there's an unresolved issue and that cord is being, you are being drained from that particular relationship or unresolved issue. But you can literally imagine, sit there, meditate, and imagine the cutting of that cord between you and a person.
In other words, putting up a shield, sealing that off, right? Stemming
and clip, snip,
stemming that leak.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot you can do. I mean, you can write in your journal. You can do the traditional, write the letter to the person without the intention of sending it. Write it. You can burn the letter after that. You can simply, again, but yet powerfully, say a prayer of blessing and releasing the person. I bless and release you. You can do the ho'oponopono. You can do that.
Yeah, I have found it helpful for myself. Like, it's been helpful to, instead of trying to get to the place of feeling like I genuinely forgive this person, right? Instead of trying to feel that and make that decision, and because when I have tried to do that, the second voice that comes up in my head is going, "But did you really do it? Like, how do you know? How do you know? Did you really? If you really did it, right? Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have found it helpful to, instead of trying to get to that place of no, I forgive, taking a step back and kind of just getting to the place of saying, whatever forgiveness means, like, I'm willing to forgive.
Yeah.
And that has created a spaciousness somehow. Yeah. And I've done that in just trying to make room for God, trying to make room for love, trying to make room for the life force, just for my little ego, scared little thing to just relax,
calm down,
and get out of the way and step back.
Yeah.
And be like, am I willing to let it go?
Yeah.
Not did I let it go, and
right,
but am I just willing to let it go, and asking God, asking the Great Spirit to help me let it go. Like, I want to let it go, help me let it go.
Yeah.
And that has been helpful.
That's great. I think for me, what's been helpful is it feels so noisy today. Do you hear all those cars or whatever those are? But for me, what's been helpful is, say, after I do the cord cutting work or whatever energetic work, and I definitely, after that, might feel a sense of relief or lightness. But I have experienced where, then an hour later, I'm thinking about it again, right?
Right, exactly.
So it's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah.
And then what I'll do is I'll do a little bit of tapping. And in my mind, I'm just saying, I surrender you, I bless and release you. I surrender you, I bless and release you. Bless and release you. And I just keep saying that and going to that energy, focusing my mind on that instead of letting my mind run amok and just start digging all that stuff up again.
Right.
Really releasing it and being willing, using that word willing, being willing to release it. Yeah. But that's what's been helpful for me, at least to have my physicality doing something. So I'm tapping and then in my mind, occupy my mind with, I bless and release you. I bless and release you. And then that pretty much does it until it might pop up again. And then I do the same thing. And then, what I often find is for those ones that kind of hang on. So like in that situation that I just explained, what will normally happen, which I'm so grateful for, is say after 2 or 3 bless and releasing you sessions, right? After I've done the initial work of letting go, I will find that maybe the person will text me to provide the next layer of closure, or something will happen actually with that person that provides the closure, or I will receive help from something else. Like I'll receive a spiritual email. You know, I'm on several email lists, right? I'll receive an email where I might read a passage and it's like, wow, that feels really good. Where I can actually feel at peace with the situation to let it go.
Wow.
Or something else will happen. But normally when it hangs on like that and I'm blessing and releasing, something else will come to help me close that loop.
That's so cool. Yeah, that is the evidence of how we're not alone here.
Yeah.
You know,
Totally.
the Great Spirit is with us if we clean up our side of the street, right? We
Right.
show up on our sidewalk and start doing the work, and
Right.
and we will get help. Yeah.
Maybe the last thing that I'll say on this interpersonal part is, so as you're cleaning up your side of the street, also be open, aware, and compassionate when someone is reaching out to you for some kind of closure. Because it goes both ways, right?
Right.
So
Right.
that might be helpful too.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing,
Yeah.
you know, when we can take part in this kind of interaction of cleaning up our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess why I like that phrase, cleaning up your side of the street, is it recognizes that it's not just you here. You know, there is another side, and
Right.
and as much as sometimes we might want to control the whole situation and just make it all better, 100%, you know, that other side of the street, that belongs to the other person.
Right.
And they're going to
Right.
do what they're going to do. That it's their choice, what they want
Right.
to do, you know, but we do have ownership and responsibility for our side of the street. And you can take comfort and pride and feel really good about how you steward that.
Yes.
What is yours?
You know what I find interesting though?
What?
Toast is here nodding, and I'm looking at her like, okay, no one could hear that. Okay. What I find interesting is that we're each so, you know how they say we're all one?
Okay. On some level.
There's
yeah,
a
on one
consciousness
level. Yes.
and a oneness,
Yes.
right? And I can buy into that.
Yeah, that's
However-
totally true on one
However,
from one perspective.
we each truly have not control, but we absolutely do influence our own experience of things and our perspectives on things. And there are probably, as you do the work of, you know, closing up the loops for the interpersonal side of things, there are probably things bothering us that the other person has no clue about.
Yes.
You know, but it's our perceptions.
Yeah.
It's how we are internalizing what someone says, what someone does. It's our response to things that often are the culprits for like the misery that sometimes we can feel or the pain that we can feel. And a quick example I'll share to close this out is, so a friend of mine that I met in 7th grade, and she and I were very good friends all throughout 7th grade, 8th grade, all the way through high school. Once in a while we're in touch, but we aren't in consistent contact. That's what I'll say. She had reached out to me, and this was probably last year sometime. She had reached out to me and said, hey, do you have a moment to talk? And I said, yeah, sure. So we talked on the phone for a little bit. And I think what she was doing is closing up a loop for her side. And one of the things was an incident she brought up that happened when we were 14. And I was pretty stunned by that. But I was aware of what was going on. And I was as compassionate as I could be and open and trying to stay open and be in a loving place and receptive. Because initially when she brought it up, my guards kind of went up. Like I went, what? You're accused is a strong word, but you're talking about something that you're saying I did when we were 14. And honestly, I could not remember the incident. So it was very challenging to interact with this person and to find a way to get myself out of the way. Because obviously I was fine with whatever that was, because I wasn't hanging on to it. Right. But she was. And I wanted to make sure that I could sincerely have the energy that she needed to facilitate cleaning up her side of her street, right? To be the energy that would allow her to do that.
While remaining
and
authentic and in integrity for yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
And any guardedness to help release that. So we worked through it. And that was that. But that's just an example of how, you don't know what's bothering people and the effect that we have had on people.
Right.
Things we've said or done that might be lingering and an open loop for others. And that just kind of, maybe puts things in perspective for us as we are, as we examine the open loops on our side of the street. And hopefully that will help us feel maybe less afraid to reach out and close them, or to do the work to close them, because it may be this giant thing to us when it might not even be anything to the other person.
Right.
And as long as you feel like you can trust that person in terms of to be vulnerable with them and be safe with them.
Yeah, to trust it so much comes down to just trusting their heart and their intention.
Yes.
Because we do accidentally cause harm and hurt to each other. I mean, it's remains amazing to me how the people that we love and care for the most in our lives are the very people that we will hurt.
Yeah.
Unintentionally even.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. Yeah.
Yes.
So we told you this was a big topic.
All right. Okay. So if you made it to the end, thanks for hanging in there. We hope you found something valuable for yourself in this episode. And don't forget, it's all about progress and not perfection.
That's right. And it's an honor to have you as fellow travelers on this journey. And we continue to always invite you and encourage you and support you to live your love story. Until next time,
this is Sienna,
and this is Toast.